And that's national and international news for Friday, July 27th. I'm Jeannie Lee in Vancouver. Canada Now continues.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Wise at the Beaches International Jazz Festival, filling in for Carol McNeil. More on the festival later. In Toronto news tonight, an upbeat atmosphere, a very serious message. Crime Stoppers took its message about crime and safety into the community today. It stopped Regent Park. The CBC's Beatrice Politi was there and joins me now from the broadcast center. Hi, Beatrice.
Hi, Mike. It was a perfect day for a picnic, and things were hopping today for the kids at the Regent Park Community Center. Crime Stoppers took center stage to try to promote its program among the youngest residents there, and the message was clear. Don't be afraid to blow the whistle on crime. About 80 kids donned Crime Stoppers t-shirts and enjoyed pizza today, all in the name of helping to solve crime and trying to build a better community. 51 Division, which takes in Regent Park, has the highest number of homicides in the city. Most of those remain unsolved. But today, the mood was jubilant. While the kids got into the spirit, Solicitor General David Turnbull presented Crime Stoppers with a $200,000 check to support the organization's after-hours line.
This funding provided by the ministry allows us to continue that program. So without it, the number may shut down.
Most say it's a good first step in finding criminals, but for some, it doesn't address the real problem.
But I think more importantly, what we need to look at is, issues before the crime is actually committed. And so far, I've not heard anything from any level of government as to how they're going to deal with that. I think that's a question that everyone needs to answer.
And I would like to see an inquiry, basically, what is the cause of all of this?
I would respond by saying that every time anything happens in this province, the Liberals call for an inquiry. It's an old political trick, and it doesn't wash, quite frankly.
He doesn't know even what the inquiry will do, but he's saying no. That is a short-sightedness. That is the ignorance of approaching the issue itself.
I don't believe an inquiry is called for. I think the Toronto police are doing an excellent job in researching this particular set of crimes.
While the political wrangling continues, this Regent Park resident says change has to come from the inside.
Residents have to start getting off their duff and start doing things for themselves.
She's lived here for 16 years and says she's fed up.
How do they know next that their 4-year-old may not be out there and get hit by a stray bullet from a gun that they know that's in around here? No, enough's enough. You know where the guns are. Call tips, get the cops in here and get them cleaned up.
So, Mike, it was a happy summer event with some very serious undertones, and police and Crime Stoppers are hoping that events like these will get the community thinking and talking about ways to clean up the crime in that area.
Oh, Beatrice, big event there today. Does Crime Stoppers have any other events planned?
Well, this is the first time that it's actually gone directly into a community to promote its program. It doesn't have any other stops on the schedule, so to speak, for the summer or in the near future, but Crime Stoppers did say today that if it's needed, if the police feel that it would be a good idea and community members feel it would be a good idea, they'd be more than happy to go wherever they're needed.
Okay, thank you very much, Beatrice Politi at the Broadcast Center tonight. Now, in other news, a 26-year-old man is under arrest tonight, charged with sexual assault, breaking and entering, and criminal harassment. Police investigated after reports that a man was stalking women in the West End around Clearview Heights and Trethewey. Conrad Marcel Brown was arrested yesterday. And 7 children dragged kicking and screaming from their Aylmer, Ontario home are back with their parents. The children aged 6 to 14 returned to their parents, who belong to the Church of God. Child welfare workers seized them July 4th because their fundamentalist Christian parents believed corporal punishment is sanctioned by the Bible. Yesterday, a judge awarded the parents temporary custody, but ordered them not to impose physical discipline on their children until at least September. Turning to City Hall now. School is out. City Council wrapped up things last night. It'll be 2 months before it meets again. With a look back on the term that was, I'm joined now by our urban affairs correspondent, John Northcott. Hi, John.
Hi, Mike. Yeah, the City Hall doesn't work in the same way as the federal or provincial governments do with sessions. Nonetheless, they don't have another council meeting until October, so we thought it was appropriate to ask how things have gone so far this year. A tourist wandering about Nathan Phillips Square could be forgiven for not noticing the signs that it's been a tough year in Toronto. The Olympic flags still fly, hopeful of the world's arrival in 2008, but the Olympic posters have been half torn from the City Hall pillars. The year has also seen a war of words with Queen's Park, a tax increase, and a mayor who managed to get himself in the headlines for having a mistress and insulting an entire continent. As the tourists enter City Hall, the cardboard cutout of himself Mel Lastman keeps in his office stares optimistically down at them.
Well, I think this term has been very, tumultuous.
Well, this was not a good year for the city.
Inside, many could be forgiven for having already left for happier places. Holiday, Mamalidi, and Pitfield's offices are locked up tight. Those we did find had some sobering thoughts. Michael Prue, for example, says amalgamation has hurt the city of Toronto.
The service delivery level has gone down, their access to politicians has gone down, their access to the bureaucracy has gone down, and they pay more for that privilege.
In fact, Prue is a candidate for the provincial office in Beaches Woodbine.
Somebody from this city needs to go to Queen's Park to articulate what is happening with downloading, what is happening as a result of amalgamation.
It will mean a decline in the quality of life in the city.
The budget chief, David Shiner, says next year could look a lot like this one.
We have a very, very serious problem if we cannot get the help that we need from the other levels of government.
Joe Pantalone says the waterfront development is a ray of hope, but it's relief that still seems far away.
I feel kind of exhausted. It's hard to believe that it's only been, 7 months since the last election. I feel like it's been maybe a year and a half. There's so much has happened.
We should point out as well that the city currently has no CAO or treasurer, so they'll be heading into the next couple of months without those key figures there to help guide the city. Mike?
Well, John, now looking ahead to October, what pressing issues are going to be waiting for council?
Well, they promised they're going to hire a CAO right away, as well as a treasurer. But believe it or not, it seems that it just ended, but we're actually heading into budget time again. David Shiner says he's already grappling with the budget, and then it starts into October, November, and then into the new year again. So we're going to start hearing budget noises pretty soon in the fall.
Okay, John, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, now also tonight, a temporary measure to ease lineups for cancer treatments may be around for a while. The province's cancer agency says the private after-hours radiation clinic at Sunnybrook is needed to avoid sending Toronto patients to the U.S. for treatment. About 24 people have begun treatment each week since the clinic opened in February. It was announced as a stopgap measure, but documents obtained by the Toronto Star suggest authorities knew even then the clinic would be needed for at least 5 years. When the anti-poverty group, the Ontario Coalition Against Poverty, destroyed the offices of Ontario's Minister of Finance, it set off a fiery debate about the group's tactics. Today, more fallout from that day. OCAP's largest financial supporter dropped out. Wilf Dinnick has more.
The fall.
Sue Collis admits it's going to hurt.
Both in size and in timing. Obviously, this has a fairly considerable impact for us.
The anti-poverty group, OCAP, lost a huge chunk of its money today because of the group's tactics. When OCAP protests, people usually hear about it. They're loud and often violent, like this year when they wanted to show Ontario's finance minister what it's like to be evicted. But it was just too much for union leader Buzz Hargrove.
The reflection publicly on our union is that we're endorsing by financing an organization that's violent in nature.
Each September, the Canadian Auto Workers Union makes a single donation of $10,000. That's 1/5 of OCAP's budget. But even with the CAW pulling out, OCAP's not changing its tactics.
I think that Buzz Hargrove is giving undue attention to a bit of office furniture. I think he is showing undue care or concern for Jim Flaherty's desks and chairs. Yeah.
And they're promising more protests, something that supporters like Kathy Crow says are needed.
For me as a street nurse, I know I need OCAP. I know I need that group to keep fighting with homeless people for their rights.
OCAP says all their other supporters, including unions, are going to still back them. Wilf Dinnick, CBC News, Toronto.
Some potential budding actors gathered at Harbourfront today. They were showing friends and families what they've been learning at the latest Harbourfront camp session. This one is called Theatre Kids.
Well, I was a star. That's where it got me here today. The famous actor that I am.
Campers work with a director, learning about theater performance and production. They also rehearse and prepare their own show. No agents or auditions necessary, just plenty of panache and a desire to be in the spotlight. And now another camp is called Creative Arts, where kids work with paper mache, clay, and textile arts and let their imagination run wild. New sessions begin on Monday. You can call Harbourfront for details. Now we're going to stop right now for a quick break here at the Beaches Jazz Festival. Lots more still to come when we come back. Sports, weather, and entertainment, including the hot jazz of summer here at the Beaches International Festival. This is CBC News, live in Toronto.
What are you doing?
Giving the fire some fruit punch.
No matter how hard you try, you just can't think like a kid. That's why there's Bounty Extra Durable. It absorbs spills faster than any other leading paper towel and stays stronger when wet. Bounty Extra Durable is the quicker picker-upper.
Guess who else I gave fruit punch to?
Get all the play-by-play action when the New York Yankees invade Skydome to take on the Toronto Blue Jays for the start of a 3-game series. Tonight at 7 Eastern on CBC's Rogers Blue Jays Baseball.
Edmonton, 2001. Site of the World Track and Field Championships. Over 3,000 track and field giants. Watched by over 4 billion fans worldwide. The opening ceremony starts next Friday on CBC.
There's a place I know in Ontario where the sea lions kiss, so the story goes. It's amazing shows and Friendship Cove. Everyone loves Marineland. You'll be spinning, diving, and soaring high. I rode a coaster ride, we're flying to the sky. Now you know what you say when you leave here today. Everyone loves Marineland.
Idomo Summer Safari is on now. Buy elephants to our warehouses, we're bringing armoires at $4.99. 5-piece bedroom, $13.99. We're rushing down rivers, armoires at $8.99. Accessories, $99.95. I'm coming home with rolling bookcases, $149. $99 to $5.99 from the villages to ocean ships. Idomo Safari, on for a limited time.
Absolutely gorgeous sunny Friday afternoon here at the Beaches International Jazz Festival. Current temperature downtown is 21 degrees, and this nice weather is going to continue all weekend long. More on the fine weekend weather later in the news, but first entertainment, and the reason we are down here, of course, the 13th annual Beaches Jazz Festival. This weekend, the Bandshell at Kew Gardens right beside me here is going to host several top international jazz acts performing free both Saturday and Sunday afternoon. The crowds are going to love it. They're starting to gather already. This place is just going to be packed, but it is during the evenings out on Queen Street East behind me that the festival really takes on a carnival feel.
Well, people always talking about something they don't know.
Last night, along just a small section of the road, police closed it off to traffic, and then they pretty much let the musicians take over at least 40 spots up and down the street. Now, it'll start up again at 7 o'clock in just a few minutes and continue again tomorrow night. Organizers are expecting up to 250,000 people to come down tomorrow. And of course, 250,000 people don't expect to be parking around here. Parking in the beaches is bad at the worst of times, best of times. They're saying, please take the TTC. The TTC has extra buses coming down from the Woodbine subway station to get festival goers down here on time. Of course, they might be expecting some more people coming this weekend because their other weekend plans have been canceled. The Wadapalava concert that was scheduled for tonight has been canceled. It was supposed to be the first openly gay pop music festival of its kind, and it included stars like the Pet Shop Boys and Sinead O'Connor, but Sinead pulled out and there were poor ticket sales, so if you have tickets for the show, you can get your money back where you bought them. And speaking of no-shows, the Backstreet Boys were supposed to be in town tonight, but they're not here. Too bad. The boys were forced to reschedule their sold-out Toronto shows after member AJ McLean checked himself into a rehab program. The singer apparently suffered from depression, anxiety, and alcohol abuse. But fear not, the concerts have been rescheduled. BSB is set to rock Toronto September 12th, 13th, and 14th. Now, so much for what isn't happening. The Beaches Jazz Fest, as we told you, is on this weekend, and there are lots of other concerts going on as well. Here are a few you might want to check out. Tonight, Michelle White is playing at Jazz in the Gardens. That's at Cloud Gardens Park. Tricky Woo is at Lee's Palace. Live Grooves is at Una Mas. For Saturday, Buju Banton is at the Opera House. Tribe 8 with Triple Cream is at Lee's Palace. Simon Says and Unloco are at the Cathedral. And for Sunday, the Wavelength Music Series featuring Poppy Seed and the Love Explosion Orchestra, well, they're playing at Ted's Wrecking Yard. And there's some intense interest again today in Britain and all around the world over news that Paul McCartney is getting hitched again.
We'll get married sometime next year. That's about it.
The 59-year-old former Beatle ended months of guessing and finally announced the couple's plans. They appeared outside their London home earlier today. Heather Mills is the lucky lady, and McCartney bought her a sapphire and diamond engagement ring. She was showing it off for all to see today. No date for the nuptials have been set. Sir Paul's first wife, Linda, died of cancer 3 years ago. And Indigo Chapters is pulling out of this year's Word on the Street Festival. Chapters had been a regular part of the annual festival, which is held in cities across the country. This past year, Chapters merged with Indigo, and now owner Heather Reisman is apparently concentrating on getting her new company in order. Word on the Street Festival organizers are confident that several small, independent bookstores will step in instead. And Elvis is in the building, or rather in Collingwood, that is. The 7th annual Elvis Festival kicks off tonight. Included in the weekend event is a parade, a street party, and a tribute competition. It runs until Monday. There's one big giant celebration of the King. I guess his legend never dies. For more information, check out our website at toronto.cbc.ca. And former Prime Minister Kim Campbell is making news in entertainment. She and Hershey Felder, her partner on stage and off, are in Hamilton. They're here for the performance of their musical Noah's Ark. Anthony Robart reports.
Former Prime Minister Kim Campbell has had quite the career. Law, politics, teaching, now musical theater.
What Kim's incredible talent is distilling the information that is there from all our sources to find out what the story is actually about.
Hershey Felder and Kim Campbell wrote the musical Noah's Ark. He composed the music, she wrote the lyrics. The two are in Hamilton for the show's rehearsals. The production is based on an interpretation of the biblical tale. It includes selections from a number of musicals, including West Side Story.
What it's about human responsibility, human moral responsibility. I mean, Noah could have made a difference. He was the one person who had he had God's ear.
It's not a religious story.
No,
it's a story about people. The Bible story is a legend, and it's the Old Testament from where it's taken from, and it doesn't have any religious impact.
The two collaborators are not just work partners, they're also romantically involved and have been for 4 years. What's caught the public's attention is that he's 33 and she's 54, a subject the couple doesn't feel is important.
Is it only to be wonderful when a man is 50 and his wife is 30? That's the only time it's a real relationship based on two people who enjoy being with each other, who love being in each other's presence.
We do not make our private life a matter of public consumption. I mean, it's just
never.
It's nobody's business.
In addition to working on the musical, Campbell is teaching at Harvard. As for the show, there are 2 performances. Monday night here in Toronto, Tuesday night in Hamilton. Anthony Robart, CBC News, Hamilton.
In sports, the final round of play today at the historic Thornhill Country Club for women in the Toronto Star Amateur Championship. But as Debbie Lytle-Kwan reports, the play was more professional than amateur.
We had a stellar field this year, 120 participants from 58 different GTAJ member clubs. We now have 124 clubs supporting the city championship.
In the end, the 2nd annual Toronto Star Women's Amateur came down to a match play final of 2 women equally matched, but at opposite ends of their golf careers. Lindsay Knowlton is just 19 and just out of high school. This fall, she's off to Ohio State on a scholarship.
I hope to someday make the tour. I want to see, hopefully I'll play really well in university and then move on to the tour after that.
Marianne Lapointe is a legend of amateur play, a 3-time Canadian champ and a 5-time Ontario champ who tried the pro tour after university.
Marianne Lapointe is 3 up.
I don't know, it just wasn't enjoyable. And knew I was going to have a family and just decided it wasn't for me. And I really enjoy it. Amateur golf, going at it full tilt for 4 months and put the clubs away for 8.
LaPointe chipping for victory, winning 5 and 4.
Playing it last year, I lost in the semifinals, and just the way it's run, and it's run so professionally, and thought, you know what, I don't have that many good years left, and I'd really like to add the Toronto Star to the list of things I've done, so it feels good.
Good going. Good playing. Solid. Debbie Lytle-Kwan, CBC News at the Women's Amateur in Thornhill.
And time for another quick break here at Kew Gardens and the Beaches International Jazz Festival. When we come back to the turbulence at JDS Uniphase. That and more in your Toronto business news. Also ahead, your complete weather forecast. This is CBC News, live in Toronto.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you by Lotto 649. Saturday's jackpot has grown to $5 million. Imagine the freedom.
Yum. Seconds, huh? No, thirds. You marinate these? Yeah, sort of. You Cheryl's cousin? No. Clubhouse rub marinade. Yeah, you just kind of rub it on. You're from work, right? No. So you just let them sit for 5 minutes? Yeah. Great. You new to the neighborhood? No.
Who is that?
I don't know.
Spoon, rub, grill. With new Clubhouse Spice Rub marinades, a little means a lot. It's not just about saving money. It's about spending time, just dropping by and creating bonds rather than simply buying them. At Edward Jones, it's never just about investing. It's about knowing you and your dreams.
My every hope, my life, my world, it all begins with a dream.
Edward Jones, investing in you and your dreams.
Idomo Summer Safari is on now. Buy elephants to our warehouses, we're bringing armoires at $4.99. 5-piece bedroom, $13.99. We're rushing down rivers, armoires at $8.99. Accessories, $99.95. I'm coming home with rolling bookcases, $149. $99 to $5.99 from the villages to ocean ships. Idomo Safari, on for limited time.
Experience Six Flags Darien Lake, the theme park that lets you stay where you play. Thrill rides like Superman Ride of Steel, spectacular shows, attractions, and a tropical water park. You're gonna say...
Admissions just $18.99 Canadian with tickets at CAA locations.
This business report is brought to you by Reactin. Imagine relief from allergy symptoms.
And also in business news, the end to another turbulent week in the markets. Big layoffs, big losses, including JDS Uniphase. Christine Crowther reports.
The NASDAQ finished up today. So did the TSE 300. Companies like Nortel, which have had their own share of layoff announcements, closed on an up note. And even though JDS stocks took a beating, they managed to recover slightly by the end of the day. Analysts say that's because yesterday's news wasn't a surprise.
People were talking about approximately a $40 billion write-off, and JDS Uniphase's shares had been declining.
This is just one in a series of layoffs announced by JDS this year. Layoffs the company's head says are strategic, a result of a downturn in the industry, not bad management.
We have generated $65 million cash, $365 million cash. And you're asking me what went wrong? The company is positioning itself to be coming out from this industry downturn to be very strong.
I've heard comments from
and in fact, Calendar's company agrees.
And when the economy turns around and we get back into kind of a growth mode for the whole technology sector, the surviving companies are going to get the lion's share of the business. We certainly think JDS Uniphase will be one of those companies.
Even in Ottawa, where high tech has helped the city's skyline reach new heights, The announcement of yet another round of layoffs isn't causing panic.
No, it's not nearly as bad as what people are saying.
Bill Collins is with the Ottawa Centre for Research and Innovation.
We can buffer this. We've got this far, 6 months, and still 5.6% unemployment. That's pretty darn good.
But that's small consolation for employees. We're waiting to find out if they're the ones who are going to receive these latest layoff notices. Christine Crowther, CBC News, Toronto.
Now with more on all of this, Sina Katz joins me now at the Broadcast Centre with the details. Hi, Sina.
Hi, Mike.
What happened with JDS?
Well, a lot of bad news coming from JDS Uniphase. It's the world's largest fiber optics equipment maker, and it announced one of the largest losses in corporate history, a whopping $50.6 billion US. Today, the stock closed down on the TSE about 8% to $13.82. And just to give you a little bit of perspective, in September 2000, JDS, which also trades on the NASDAQ, closed at a high of $140.50 US. So a lot can happen in a year. It's really come down.
Now, Sina, it gets worse, doesn't it? There was other bad news for JDS today, wasn't there?
Yeah, there is more bad news for JDS. Today, two investment banks, Goldman Sachs and Lehman Brothers, decided that they were going to revise their earnings estimates for the year 2002 downwards. The Lehman's analyst has said that he's looking now at a loss of 1 cent US per share. That compares to his previous estimate for 2002 of a profit of 1 cent US per share. And the Goldman Sachs analyst is also looking for a loss of 1 cent US per share for 2002, and that compares to a profit of 3 cents US.
Wow. Okay, Sina Katz, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, turning to the weather now. Tonight, look for clear skies. The low will be down to around 14. Tomorrow, we'll start out with sunny skies, but watch for clouds to roll in by mid-afternoon. The high will hit about 24. Checking the 3-day, Sunday, cloudy with sunny breaks, a chance of showers, the high 25, the low 17. Monday, a mix of sun and clouds, the high 24, the low 16. And into next Tuesday, the high near 28, it warms up, and the low near 14. That is a look at your weather. And a programming note, don't forget, for all your Toronto news, first thing on Metro Morning, tune into Metro Morning. Join host Andy Barry from 6 to 9 on CBC Radio 1. That's 99.1 on the FM dial. And that's our show. We hope you had a great weekend. I'm Mike Wise, filling in for Carol McNeil. Lots of great bands playing here this weekend at the Beaches Jazz Festival. And to play us out tonight, the Swing Shift Big Band. Good night.
Don't make it a gas, there's never a doubt. You'll knock yourself out whenever you can hear
Excuse me, I lost a black carry-on. I turned around and it was completely gone.
Did you have the bag inside?
I just...
At the Canadian Broadcasting Centre in Toronto.
The Scotiabank Group's Soul Pepper Summer Season brings Canada's finest actors to 4 of history's greatest plays. Anton Chekhov's heartbreaking classic, Uncle Vanya. Noel Coward's decadent comedy, Present Laughter. Arthur Schnitzler's erotic masterpiece, La Ronde, in a new adaptation by Jason Sherman. And a double bill by the absurdist master, Eugene Ionesco. Enjoy classics on the waterfront with the celebrated Soul Pepper Theatre Company. Call 416-973-4000.
Today's Parent Kids Summer is in full swing again this season.